Now that we've established what a downtrend is and an uptrend, what we see now across the top of this, where I've drawn this line, this is our support and resistance lines. Now you notice as the markets go up and down across this wave formation, they bounce their heads, it seems, off of this line that we've drawn here. And this area is called the resistance line. And then across the bottom, you'll see that we have the same kind of line. This is a support line. It's the floor. So we have basically a floor and a ceiling. And you can see support and resistance. And markets will tend to bounce between the support and the resistance. Come down and touch the support, back up to the resistance, back down to the support, back up to the resistance. Just knowing that one little piece of information is quite valuable to you, because when a market starts to trend, you can know that it's going to start creating floor and resistance points. Now we can go into almost any chart and find support and resistance. Let's pull up a corn 2000 December contract, and support and resistance isn't only on an incline. We can have support and resistance that is perfectly flat. If a market is going sideways, like part of this corn contract, let's see, just right across the bottom here, this would be considered an area of support right there. And across, let's see, here's another area of support. We can see that's not in a perfect line, but that would be an area of support right across there. Now they don't have to be perfect. See how that's breaking down through there a little bit? That's okay. They don't have to be perfectly lined up, but they have to be right close where they're coming down and touching an area, and that's considered support. Now the resistance areas, of course, would be across the top, and we have some areas of support or resistance right in here. If you look, there's a shorter area of resistance right across that little top right there. Let's look back in time. We can find, look at this, here's some other areas of support right down this line here. Look at this, right down through there. And then of course we've got the resistance point coming across the top, like right down through here. See where all those came up and touched and hit those lines? That's support and resistance. Support and resistance is very important because as the market is trending, it shows us areas where we can expect it to go down to and meet. And oftentimes you'll find that markets will test areas of support and resistance before they break through them. They'll want to test those areas to see if they can break through that support and resistance areas and continue on in that direction. So let's just pull up another chart real quick. Let's pull up, let's look down through the list and find one. Soybean meal, just almost anything. Let's grab an August, September soybean meal and just see if we can identify some support and resistance areas. Now, I want you to do this on your own. Look at that one great big, let's shrink the chart just a little, bring that up. And we've got another support resistance tool here for narrow inclining channels that we can use. And it draws our support and resistance areas for us. You can see little channels that we're creating with the support and resistance. So let's see if we can see this all the way across here. This would be considered a nice little area of resistance or support right through there, where the market comes down and tests it, comes down, tests it again, comes down, tests it again. Let's see, nice little sideways one going here, another one right underneath it. Areas of support and resistance. You can find it all the way through charting. Everywhere you look, you're going to see areas of support and resistance. And these are very good points for you to keep in mind where your areas of support and resistance are, because when we start placing orders, you're going to find that we place our orders based on historical support and resistance points. So keep in mind your historical points of support and resistance. Looking back, see what I mean by that is, if you look right here, we're going to come down and we're going to test some areas of support, historical points of resistance. Now see right in here, see how this went kind of sideways here and then we bounce off of it right here? You'll notice that when charts trend like this, that we have little areas where they'll correspond. So look at this, we have little supports of resistance here, and then this one went sideways over here. You'll see this, here's another spot here, another spot here, how they kind of reflect back in history what things did. You'll see it in other charts. I want you to look through some other charts, and let's grab one and look at something else here for fun. Let's go to wheat, July wheat. So we can just grab any chart. Doesn't matter because each one is going to have levels of support and resistance. Now see how this one tested the tops here? Look at these tops. We came up and we touched these tops up in here, and then later on the market comes down and goes back up and tests those same tops right in there. So that's your support and resistance areas, testing each other back and forth between what happened back several months ago. They'll go up and see if they can break those areas of support or areas of resistance. And then it's going to be the same thing for coming down. Look at this right across the bottom here. We got another area where it's coming down and it's testing. Look at that, one right after the other. It tests these areas of support and resistance. See that? Alright, now you need to go through and look at a whole bunch of charts and find as much support and resistance as you can and try and identify where support and resistance goes back and has historical support and resistance.